All right, we're back for another episode of the Rehashables. Task on HBO just finished a couple nights ago. We were pretty into this one from the beginning, had to record a pod about it, so I'm happy to do it. You fired up?
I can't wait for it. I'm good for us for within 48 hours to be recording the pod on this, because this was a show we both liked and were in on early.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and I read something. This was episode 6, real quick, that viewership went up like 35% from the first episode to that one. So I think like it was gaining momentum as the season went along.
It definitely felt like one of those shows that was building some buzz, and I have some thoughts on that, which we'll get to, as to if it really deserved it or if it was just like people wanted it to be like that high-end show. Either way, I really liked the season from basically beginning to end. I think maybe the first episode, and we'll get into all our awards that we've been doing with movies, but we'll kind of apply that to the TV show a little bit different. Excited to go over the names. It took me a little bit on that first episode, but I think by the end of the first episode, I was in.
Yeah, I think it did a great job. I think so. We both remember Mayor of Easttown and Brad Inglesby. He's the guy. Do you remember Mayor of Easttown?
Like,
is that like you didn't watch that?
I watched it. She really liked it. I don't know why. I don't know why I did not watch it, but I did not. And I know what you're talking about, obviously.
That was a fantastic show. Kate Winslet. That was an unbelievable show, and that was a prestige quality show. So this guy Brad Inglesby, he's the one that was the main writer director, kind of like Mike White for like White Lotus. Like he does it all like himself. I think he's a small writer's room. But when this came out and then started getting buzz, and like Mark Ruffalo was really the only name attached to it that was like a big name, and the trailer looked good, but it wasn't like anything crazy. But it caught me right off the bat. So
yeah, no, it was a great show. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad we watched it together. Great podcasts that we listen to that kind of talk about it. And I always think that if you're listening to a great podcast in lockstep with a show, it really adds to it, adds to the experience. So been fun watching an episode, listening to a podcast, watch an episode, listen to a podcast, and here we are recording our own. Do you want to just jump into the awards?
Yeah.
Or do you have anything you want to say?
The only thing I wanted to add was this is, again, it doesn't happen like very often, but this was like, I think for Heather and I, when we watched this was like a 9 p.m. Sunday night like show for the last like 5 weeks. You know what I mean? And you talked about like listening to a podcast and being part of that experience. And we've talked about this before. I just love the weekly drops of like one episode as opposed to like the Netflix model or whatever, because you can digest it so much more. But to have a show at like 9 p.m. on Sunday night that's like a must watch, it sucks that it's over, but I loved it,
Yeah.
So
good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, so we have a bunch of awards. So if you've been listening to our movie podcast lately, we've broken down every movie that we've seen to the different awards. We've changed the names, changed the categories a little bit, but we're gonna use this as a basis for the conversation around some of our favorite parts of the show. If you are listening to this, let us know what you think of the names. I think they're pretty freaking awesome. Shoot us a text, either me or Matt. Let me know what you think. Let us know what you think about our choices, but I love these. So you ready to start off with the first one?
Let's dive right in, yeah.
So, first one, the Jack Bauer Award for most intense sequence of the season. And I got a couple things, but I love that freaking name, man. Dedicated to our boy Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland. I think it's a perfect name.
24 was our, like, the one, like, just before Lost, that you and I, that really, I think, became a you and I show, you know what I mean? Where I think we talked about, we actually got a chance to meet Kiefer Sutherland in Scarborough at the Bull Moose. I'm bigger than him. I love to use that as a fun fact.
He's a friend of the podcast.
Yeah, big fan. But anyway, 24 was an awesome show and the most intense show, so it's properly named.
So do you have a lot of honorable mentions for this part, or
honorable mentions and a winner?
I only have a couple, and maybe just because I kind of narrowed it down pretty quickly, but we'll go through our honorable mentions as always, and then say who our winners are. Why don't you start?
Because I have some small ones too, all right? But I'm going to say just like some, I thought like really intense sequences that really like stood out to me. I thought kind of the ending of the first episode when Robbie and Cliff and the other guy were robbing the drug house, but like the people were tied up and then one got loose and someone came in and then like people started dying and getting shot and like the robbery went wrong. I thought that was a really just intense sequence to kind of kick off the series.
I thought so too. I actually thought both. I mean, there was 2 robbery scenes in that first episode.
Yeah.
And I loved the masks. I thought that added to the intensity. And I almost thought that those masks were going to be a thing throughout the season, and they were not beyond that first episode. I thought that it was going to be like a trademark look for the show. But I did think both of those robberies, especially the last one, were pretty intense. I love the masks.
And I just thought, it was important for them to do two of them. You mentioned there was two of those because the first one went perfectly.
Went fine.
That's how it's supposed to go. And then the second one, it showed like one thing going wrong, and then it's kind of spiraled, and people ended up dying. One of their crew members died, and then ending with them finding Sam at the end, in the basement. So that was kind of
a great ending to that first episode. So yeah, anyways, that was on my honorable mention list.
Yep.
So another one of my honorable mentions would be just the gun scene of episode 7, the finale, the one where ultimately you have what Tom, Mark Ruffalo's character, kind of going through the house with the guns. What's the short-haired girl, the black girl's name? Aaliyah. She was fighting the other guy all the way to the point that like Jason has Maeve by holding her by gunpoint, and then Grasso finally freaking redeems himself, which we'll get to Grasso at some point, but shoots him in the head to end it. Weren't sure what's going to happen. You have the kid kind of going out the window. You're not sure what's going to happen with the kid. So it was definitely tense for a little bit, but was not my favorite one, but definitely honorable mention for me.
Definitely honorable mention for me too. It was intense. It was just, you knew it was happening when you saw Grasso, gray as could be, kind of hanging over the steering wheel. You didn't know if he was going to make it. Jason and like what he was doing to Maeve was very like scary. You know what I mean? So like that was, and Aaliyah was getting, she was getting beat up by one of the Darkheart members too. A lot going on. So it was definitely on my honorable mention. Not my favorite either. So I also have two more too. So
well, then share your. I'm ready for my winner of the Jack Bauer Award when you are. So share your honorable mentions.
Art would probably have the same one. So I have two other moments that were just small, but I thought they were really intense. I thought Maeve calling the police from the arcade and then going in the car and Sam being in the back seat, but then having Sam hide in the trunk and her conversation with Tom and then going back into that was like really like edge of my seat intense stuff. Like when Sam was in the backseat when she got in the car was like that caught me off guard.
And having to go through the blockade and the questioning was definitely tense.
And it was Tom there and Tom questioning her and then going into the arcade and then getting out from not opening the trunk. Amelia Jones, fame from Coda. We'll talk about her many more times in this show, but just was a phenomenal character and probably the big emotional kind of element of the whole show. So that was one of my honorable mention. Another sneaky one that was really intense for me was Perry's conversation with Aaron at the table. And remember that?
Yeah.
When like he had the kids in the other room. What's that?
He was basically like threatening her at that point.
And it was like, that was when I thought Perry was kind of scary, and we can get to Perry's downfall because he's not nearly as tough as you think. That was just an intense conversation. And Aaron, her responses were good, and that was really good too. So those are just two smaller moments throughout the season that really stuck out to me, and I'm sure we both have the same winner. So,
if we don't, I'll be very surprised. Yeah. But mine's going to be the episode 6 shootout in the woods, and it's Lizzie and Grasso off on the side, Robbie and Tom doing their thing, but then ultimately like the Robbie Jason fight that led to Robbie's death. I found that to be very intense. And when you think that Robbie had him for a second, and the look in Robbie's face as he's choking him out, there's just incredible acting. Like it was just like raw anger and emotion, and then he gets stabbed in the side. Like that was it was kind of heartbreaking too, because you end up really liking Robbie, even though he's a very flawed person. Just that whole scene, everything out there, I thought was very intense and well done.
So Tom Pelphrey, again, I didn't know who he was coming into this series.
What's he in again? He's in something.
I'm looking at his IMDb now. He was in, Outer Range, Love and Death. He was in Ozark a little bit.
Ozark's the thing. I don't remember him in Ozark, but I remember hearing that he was in Ozark in the past few weeks. So outside, I don't have a big relationship with him or know much about him, but he was great.
That fight scene with him and Jason paired with Tom and Perry fighting. So Tom and Perry fighting. What the hell was the over-under, you think, on or the odds of Perry winning that fight versus Tom? Like, I would have given Perry minus 350 to like win that fight against Tom.
Yeah, Tom's not the best cop / FBI guy. He obviously made it to the end. Spoiler, but
he won. Yeah, he beat Perry, which is insane. Which I lost a lot of respect for Perry.
Yeah.
after that.
Not a great murderer, not a great fighter.
He really started off hot. He peaked too early. You know what I
He
mean?
definitely has like a scary, intimidating look to him, but yeah, he's kind of a puss.
Yeah, he definitely is. But that whole sequence, and then Robbie, I mean, Robbie going, you're just talking about half of the intense sequence, because the other half is Grasso juggling everything that's going on between
Yeah.
him wanting to make sure Lizzie's okay, and then the Dark Heart's not like, you know, giving up his thing too. So
And then obviously ends with Lizzie having a gun fired in her ear, makes her have a hard time with her hearing, gets hit by a freaking car, ultimately died. For a second, I thought she was going to survive, and then I was like, oh my god, they're actually going to do it, and they actually killed her.
dead on impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was that. So that whole sequence, you're right. We can really dive into it. You know what I mean? More that Kathy got shot. Leah's sniping people left and right and stuff. It was a really great sequence. Glad they did it during the day so you could see everything like pretty clear and stuff too. It was a really, really, really good thing. So that was my winner too.
There's this thing with the second to last episode being like the biggest episode, and I actually thought episode 7 was good from an action point of view and an intensity point of view. There was a lot of stuff going on, but like it seemed like episode 6 was like the big one with this big stuff with all these different pieces kind of coming together. And easily my most intense sequence, winner of the Jack Bauer Award, hands down.
I mean, you lose in that sequence, you lose 2 of maybe the top 5 characters of the show, I would say, within the first 15 minutes of that character. So that's like, not quite, but like losing Robbie, could be the equivalent of losing like Ned Stark, you know what I mean? Or in episode 9 of season 1 of Game of Thrones, or you know what I mean? Something like that. I did not think
it's a big loss.
Huge loss.
What's that?
And I thought it was handled perfectly. So
yeah, dude, I thought we'll get to our next category. I think is a good one. Why don't we just move to the next category for now? If you're good with that, because we can talk about all this stuff. So next one, another one I'm a big fan of, the Desmond Hume Award for Best Character. And I actually think this is a pretty tough one, and I think I know what you'll ultimately pick, but I had a harder time with it. Even right now, as we're talking about it, I'm having doubts about it. I'm gonna go honorable mention for Robbie, just so we can keep it going. Is he an honorable mention for you?
He's my honorable mention too. I have 2 other like short ones I'd mention real quick, but Robbie.
Okay, and we'll get to those too. But so Robbie is definitely seems from the beginning of the show to me, he seems like he is going to be the best character, the main guy. He doesn't quite turn out to be, because he does die in that 6th episode, and I was definitely surprised. I thought he would get out of it somehow, but I ultimately really liked his arc, and I thought his death was good, and he ended up being like the good bad guy, just like a very inept criminal, but like he made some decisions, for his family, and just the way he handled his situations with Tom and his conversations with Tom. Yeah, really liked his character.
So you go before last Sunday night's episode, and it might still be, but like when you think of Task, I think like Robbie would be like the first thing you think of, because Tom Pelphrey, really good looking guy, big bushy beard, like kind of had like a big personality. He was kind of like the face of the show, and again, I thought it would have been him too, but I ended up going a different direction as well. Happy for that guy. I think he's gonna kind of now get propelled into stardom and stuff.
Yeah, he's a great TV actor. And it's a great character. Great character, great death. I love the car scene with him and Tom, and he's looking at the sky, and then you see some of the flashback stuff and the music. Like, I just thought it was a well done death, which a lot of people don't have on these shows.
A good arc, and a good like sensible arc. Like all his decisions made sense. I felt like, you know what I mean?
He wanted revenge for his brother, and he wanted to really like stick it to the Dark Hearts guys, and he ended up tricking them with the money and setting up Maeve, and obviously made some mistakes. So that he took care of that kid. I'll tell you what, you'd be lying if you said you didn't think twice about killing Sam in the first episode. Like, I almost thought, like, what's your only option is to kill this kid, like,
what do you do?
Screwed. Now you're screwed. Like, there's no scenario that this, like, once that kid stayed alive and you knew he was going to stay alive, like, you knew that Robbie's situation was going to end bad, because there's no handing that kid back and him just disappearing into nothingness. You know what I mean? It's either you kill the kid or you don't. And he obviously made like the good decision to not kill a kid.
And I mean, I guess the bar is like pretty low, but like that kind of was like, okay, Robbie's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like when that happened, like he was doing bad things, and then you started to figure out why he was doing those bad things and stuff. but ultimately a good guy and a good character. So
Yeah. So,
yeah.
do you want to talk about your honorable mentions? Because I
Other
kind of have
honorable
probably have
mentions,
some thoughts about them, but
and I mean, maybe it'll be some of your other awards too. But like, I really liked Grasso. I liked his arc. I love the way his arc like completed. He had a conversation with his sister about like his reasoning as to why he ended up doing what he did, and you could see like how things could spiral. But he overall wasn't a good guy, wasn't a bad guy, and redeemed himself. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I don't think he's on the level of best character. Obviously, you don't either
No,
for you to
but
pick
it's
him,
an
but
honorable mention.
he's in some other things, other categories. But he's definitely like one of the task people that I'm most interested in for sure.
And yeah, again, that's why he's an honorable mention. You know what I mean? And I think him, Fabian Frankel, so he's in House of the Dragon, and he is on like par with like Joffrey, like least likable, terrible
Really?
character. Oh, he's awful in House of the Dragon. Like great actor, but you like this guy is like terrible in that
No
show.
kidding.
You don't like him at all. Like he's really, really not likable. So good for
I
him.
almost feel bad I'll never see it.
I think this show is gonna also like kind of like propel. I think he'll be in more things too. So which is great. And then some other mention again, best character. You can't maybe say it, but just Maeve. I loved Maeve. I thought she was just a really good, grounded, great character in
Yeah,
the heartbeat of the show. So
yeah,
that's why I say that. But ultimate winner, and we both have the same winner. So
yeah. And I'm gonna go with Tom Brandis, Mark Ruffalo's character. It took me a while to get to that point because I did think he was kind of like an inept guy. He's a drunk former priest turned FBI agent, and he just wasn't like great at his job. But like he obviously is a good guy. The family stuff I thought was okay, and I actually thought the scene in the courtroom at the very end was like very emotional. Like I actually started my eyes watering up, and I was just like, damn, it was good. They kind of landed the plane on that
that
storyline. So I
that
thought he was a good guy, and just obviously the main character of the show when it's all said and done.
the final episode was a home run for Tom. Was an absolute home run from a writing standpoint, from really tying up all the loose ends, and it comes down to like that courtroom scene. That courtroom scene was incredible acting on Mark Ruffalo. Like
Totally.
absolutely like a masterclass in acting. How he did it and he just wasn't over the top and how he was delivering every line. It was incredible. And then his relationship with like wanting to keep Sam at the end and like being talked out of it and like doing the right thing and having his other son come home. He would, for me, ended up, if it would have been a week ago, it would have been Robbie, but Tom kind of brought it home this week, and
Yeah,
he's
probably
there.
would have made it to the end and survived the whole thing. Probably ended up picking him, but I think they landed the plane on Tom Brandis. Yeah, for me, he's Desmond Hume Award winner for sure.
Yeah, totally awesome. Yeah, we agree there as well.
All right, next one. The Saul Goodman Award, character who deserves their own spinoff. And I got a few different things here. Be interested in what you think. Do you want me to go
Yeah,
first?
yeah, I'll go first. My honorable mention is Maeve. I would love. I think I'd love to know where she's going. You know what I mean with the kids. So like, I don't know if like
She went
that's
to Canada or no?
I was it 6 hour drive. She said on the pod they said
Four,
four,
I think
but
4 hour
I
drive.
thought it was 6 hour drive or whatever. So I don't know
She's
where.
going to Maine, dude. She's
Yeah,
going to.
yeah, she's
It
going
would
like
take her a little bit longer than that. I don't know the geography of Pennsylvania that well, but I know they're in Pennsylvania, so they could get maybe to Vermont or something, or Canada. But that's we'll never
but
know. But
that's I would like to know that. So she would be one of my honorable mentions. So
okay,
what do you got for an honorable mention?
little the next two are not. Yeah, I guess they're kind of spin-offs, but like little Dark Hearts spin-off. Actually, you know what?
I have that too.
So as an honorable mention,
The honorable mention.
yeah. Okay. So, but I'm actually gonna like build in my honorable mention to my winner. So my winner is, and I'll let you just do your honorable mentions after. You can chime in with this stuff, but my winner was gonna be like a Anthony Grasso.
So my winner is literally Grasso prequel. It says that is my winner. So that is hilarious that you said that because I would love to, I know, I'd love to know that. And my last honorable mentions would love to know more about the Dark Hearts, the hierarchy, and specifically the Mothers Club. About the dark, yeah, between what is it, the Christmas, the one battle after another, the Christmas Club,
Christmas Adventures Club.
Christmas Adventurers Club, and the Mothers Club, and all kinds of clubs out.
Just like weird name clubs. Yeah, I love that.
Clubs. Like, so yes, my winner was Grasso, and I would love to know a prequel of what got him into the mess, and that would be a fantastic show. I would watch that. I would just like to know more about like the dark hearts like government system, their
Yeah.
hierarchy, how they make decisions because
So I guess if they could incorporate that into
Yeah.
the Grasso prequel, that'd be great. Otherwise, it could deserve its own spin-off as well.
they were weirdly like really like organized.
Super
Like,
organized.
is that how it is?
Yeah, they got like a charter. They got a friggin' dude. It's all laid out, like organizational chart and all these rules. I mean, I don't know, but I imagine
Crazy, and
it's
that
probably like that.
actually was like what it was like. Like that is like unbelievable. Like that's so crazy to me.
Yeah. So, all right. Any
So-
other ones? Or are you good? You good there?
No, those are them. Those are them.
Okay. All right. Next award, the Ozymandias Award for the emotional gut punch or best most emotional gut punch, named after the episode of Breaking Bad where Hank is killed, and one of the best episodes of TV that you're ever going to see. So,
No question.
I have two.
I have 2 honorable mentions and a winner.
I have one honorable mention. Why don't you go first with your honorable mention?
Well, I'll go quick. Okay, really quick through my honorable mentions because one is Tom's speech. I thought that speech was unbelievable, and that we talked about it kind of in depth a little
That's
bit.
my winner, just so you know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's the one part of the show that I freaking cried at. So it's like, for me, like, it was pretty emotional. You know, I did not expect it. So, anyways, that's my winner. But go on.
Okay. Well, if you want to talk more about it, feel free.
Nothing else to say other than I thought they nailed it, like you already said, and I thought it was an emotional part.
And kind of off of that, I thought the second honorable mention was the family coming to pick up Sam, and like them all being dressed up at the end, and like that decision, and like Sam like looked a little nervous, and like I just can't imagine what that must feel like. Like, you know, like that's got to be petrifying for everybody involved, you know?
Totally.
So I thought that was a really, really good gut punch, emotional scene, and a great way to end the show. And for me, I'm surprised the winner for me is actually Lizzie dying. I thought Lizzie dying
Interesting.
was the emotional gut punch because I freaking loved Lizzie. I thought that actress did such a great job. You felt terrible for her, you know, with the cops like laughing at her at the bar, and like her talking with Aaliyah and being like, you have a thing, like you're a bullseye, like you're a really good sharpshooter. She's like, I wish I had a thing. Like I wish there was something I was good at, because she always froze. She always like froze in the earlier season when Tom was getting beat up and stuff. You just always felt bad for her. And then finally, when she's doing like the right thing and the bravery to like run and she can't hear, and that sound effect that was playing with like the hearing thing that was so disorienting, and then she ends up freaking dying. You know what I mean? I thought that was, and the way, you know, she looked, and Grasso crying and being like, you did good. I thought, to me, that was the most emotional scene because she was one of the few like really good people in the show.
So hearing you describe that is actually more emotional thinking about it than the way it was in the moment for me, just because there was so much going on that episode. And if the episode maybe ended with her in Grasso's arms, I would have that same thought. But it was like, dude, on to the next thing that episode. And it was like so with stuff, you know? Yeah. So for me, like, and Lizzie is a heartbreaking situation because of all the things that you said. And that is like, obviously like emotional, but I don't know that in the moment when she was dying, I just was feeling it just because there was so much action going on, you know, and they kind of moved on pretty quickly. I thought Robbie's death in the car with Tom was one of those other moments that was pretty emotional. Flashback stuff always gets me. You know, I just think that that's super emotional. Yeah.
The kids, that stuff, that was heartbreaking. And then the guy just loves the quarry. Question for me. So when you open the pool next year, are you going to take the water and rub it on your back before every time you jump in the water? Is that a thing you're going to do so your heart doesn't stop?
I love that. I don't think I have to do that. They only do that in quarries.
Are there any quarries in Biddeford? Is it Wilcox Pond or Wilcox Quarry?
We used to party in some quarries. They didn't look quite like that, but quarries are a big thing in Pennsylvania.
Huge thing in Pennsylvania. You can murder people, you go swimming, all kinds of quarry action. So anyway, yeah. That's funny.
Okay, ready for the next award?
Yeah.
So, this is the Roman Roy Award for the scene-stealing character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I kind of struggled with this one. Because for me, this is going to be a smaller character that, again, steals any scene that they're in. But like a lot of the characters are pretty well developed. You know, there's not a lot of like short level characters. So, anyways, what do you think for this one?
I cheated a little bit. So I have 2 honorable mentions, and then my winner is a little different. So I get but 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
Freddie Freeman, the guy, what is it? The I don't know if he's the Dominican drug lord. He was great. There was that one monologue that he gave to Jason and Perry about like him getting involved with like drugs and like people not serving him because he was black. That monologue was unbelievable, and that actor deserved like a lot of credit for that. I thought anytime he was on screen, he was a scene stealer. So he was one of my honorable mentions.
Yep, I agree. I agree with that. I don't have him on the list, and I'm glad you put him out there because I thought he was pretty good.
Second honorable mention, I'm going to go there, or do you want to go?
Yeah, keep going.
So second one,
as I'm looking at my list, I'm like fucking guessing my freaking picks, but go ahead.
Second one for me was Kathy, the FBI like woman, like Tom's boss. She was freaking funny. They did that thing, that like very like common thing, like episode 4 or 5, where you thought she was the mole because of like her facial expressions and that sort of stuff. But she, I thought, brought like a lot of like levity to the show. Like when she was like eating and like Leo was looking at her and she's like, "What? I'm stress eating," or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was funny. Or when she was popping pills after she got shot and stuff and drinking wine. I just liked her as a character. I thought she was good and kind of took over things when she was there. So
love that. I am going to just pick one. I have some people on my list, and I'm just looking at them, and it's like they don't really apply. It's almost like I'm just like naming secondary characters that just they're not really scene stealing. But for me, I think this person is that to some degree, not like the full intention of the award. I think, but for me, when Perry was on screen, I was like, I thought he was very, very menacing. And I was very into his scenes, and he just had a look about him, a way about him. And in that sense, I couldn't take my eyes off him when he was on the screen.
Yeah, I was that way through the beginning of episode 6. And then when Tom beat him in a fight, I kind of lost all respect for him. Because I'm like, Tom's like an alcoholic, like slightly overweight, always like walking weird, you know what I mean, hurt. And Perry came across as like a tough guy. And for him to lose to that, and then him not being able to pull the trigger on killing Jason.
He had a very weak ending to the show. Up until that last episode, I agree. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like just leaving the keychain in Aaron's fingers.
That's just sloppy.
And what, you know what I mean? You guys have keychains with your initials on them? Like, what, dude? Huh?
That was crazy. Him, like, even when Jason like stabbed him like saying like they're coming, like he just had this thing like Jason was like his son because I guess he was handpicked to be the next leader after Perry. You know what I mean? But I agree with you up until episode 6.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, anyway, I think that might even speak to how good the characters are developed in the show.
Yeah.
You know, like because part of me was like, okay, like I'll take Cliff, Robbie's sidekick, but like, dude, the guy was in half the freaking show. You know what I mean? And it's not like he like stole it electric wise, but like you had some feelings for him, and when he died, it was sad. And so, and then there's people like Peaches kind of came to mind, but not really. And then what's the guy's name? Was it Roy? Who's the guy? The guy that was their buddy that they called and he screwed him over. It was the husband of that
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like all a bunch of like little smaller characters, but I wouldn't say they like stole the scenes.
Can I have my winner is cheating a little bit. All right, so it's 2 characters, and my winner was actually Lizzo and Grasso's relationship. I thought I enjoyed, and so maybe
Lizzo?
No, Lizzie and Grasso, not Lizzo. That'd be actually if they got a couple.
Is that what you're calling Grasso and Lizzie? Now that they
Lizzo, yeah, they're a couple names.
I honestly thought that's what you were doing. Like I was like, oh, you really mean?
Yeah, so I should. That's funny. But no, Lizzie and Grasso's relationship, I thought all of it, like their interaction, their first interaction when she asked him to drinks at the bar, and this is like heartbreaking to look back, but when Grasso gives that freaking speech at the bar and is like, I know a lot of bad cops, you know what I mean, and we're crooked ones, and he looked to the other guys in the pool room, but we have one of the good ones, and cheers to Lizzie. And then to like their scene in the bar where they're dancing to the Gwen Stefani song and like they're having fun, to like the scene in the bedroom and like the bed thing and him not, they're not gonna hook up in the bed. I thought their relationship, I could have like listened to them 2 interact all day. I thought they had great chemistry. So that's why I picked that. If that's cheating or not, but
it is cheating, but it's okay. I like it. You cheated.
You liked my other 2. You really liked my other 2. Freddie Freeman, you were almost fell off your chair. You thought that was such a good one.
I shouldn't laugh this much because of the surgery, but that was a good one. I actually regret not picking that because that's like actually I think he's almost like the epitome of the category. You know, what I mean? Like he should have been a guy that you could have a spinoff of. You know,
You're exactly right. I would like to know more about there. And I'd like. Oh, well, we'll get into this in the next. Well, not the question. Keep going. Next one.
all right, we'll just keep it moving. I'm not giving any context to this. If you know what this is, you're one of my favorite people. The Nikki and Paulo Award for storyline we'd cut. And I actually only have one thing here, and I'd be interested to see what you get.
Wait, would you cut the Nikki and Paulo? Like that scene, that shit episode is so iconic. Like
no, but some people would. So I guess
people would cut the what's the tattoo one in Thailand. Like that
is that the one that Charlie episode?
No, the Jack with Bing Lee or whatever her name is. Like that the actress where he gets the tattoo.
I know what you're talking about.
That one.
Yeah.
Whatever, anyway. But Nikki and Paulo is just so iconic.
You wouldn't cut Nikki and Paulo, but people probably would. The show wouldn't have missed a beat if you did cut them.
Great episode. Yeah, anyway.
I actually find this to be a little bit tough. I only have one thing, and even then, I'm not like super convicted about it. So, like, what are your thoughts around this category?
You know, I have two. I have honorable mention and the winner. And I felt much more passionate about it before the finale. But so the only thing was like the Aaliyah's domestic violence storyline didn't pay off. I guess maybe because she won in the fight at the end, but I didn't quite. I don't know. Didn't quite pay off. I liked Leah as a character, and I wanted more of her. I just don't know if that one was a storyline that we quite needed. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm grasping at straws here.
No, I think that's like super fair.
You know. And then, do you want me to go my winner, or do you want to just go? We probably something similar, I bet.
Well, I'll go with my winner, and I bet you it's not what you have. But anyways, it's what I think. Outside of the last episode, I was not feeling any of the Tom's adopted kids storyline. You know, like just what's going to happen with Ethan and his kids, and like I could have done without that whole thing. Obviously, at the end, I thought they did a really nice job in the courtroom, and that kind of really sold me on the show overall. So I guess I'm glad that they did it. But outside of that last scene, I thought it was kind of second tier.
Yeah. So my base off of that, the only one I was gonna say was like Tom's like actual daughter and her like husband splitting up and the baby coming and like that didn't quite do it for me as well. So it's similar to what you're saying.
Kinda. I mean, a little different, but yeah.
But because then I would have said like the same thing. Tom with his adopted kids, but that like courtroom scene and like how Emily, I think her name is Emily, like how she was with Sam and like. I thought they did such a great job in the final episode that like redeemed all of that and made it work.
Yeah.
So
this is a good TV show. So I guess we're grasping at straws a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm ultimately glad they didn't cut it because I thought it was, again, led to the most emotional part of the show for me. Okay, you want to move on?
Yeah.
All right. This is the I Am the One Who Knocks award for Power Move of the season.
Oh, you missed one, I thought.
Oh, I did. You're right. Actually, we'll get back to the I Am the One Who Knocks award. This is the Dharma Initiative award for biggest mystery or question.
Right.
I actually think there's only really one thing that this one could be for you. I'd be interested to see what you think about this.
Three. So
you're a freaking animal. All right. So let's see what you get for honorable mentions. I just got one.
All right, because it's kind of like picking nits a little bit and like questions. So is that like kind of how you approach it too, or are you?
No, this is just like what's my favorite like mystery aspect of the show.
All right, you go then, and I have my. I took that more as like I have questions about stuff. So go ahead. You go. Go with yours first, then I'll go with mine.
So for me, the biggest mystery of the show was who the mole was up until they told you it was Grasso. So for me, that was like my favorite mystery.
Okay.
Happened throughout the course of the show, and I thought they did a good job with kind of stringing along for a few episodes, and then ultimately sharing who it was. So, anyways, as far as the biggest mystery for me of the and this is, I guess it could have been something that carried over through the season finale, but in this case, I don't think there are really any real mysteries that carry on. So for me, that was my best one. You handled this one differently. Tell me what you were thinking.
Yeah, so we'll refine this one. I took this more like I have some questions, kind of like I forget the category in the movie one, but like so one. Can you walk me through the park scene and Grasso texting Cliff and like the phone? So the phone. Grasso was texting them, but not from the right phone. He gave the phone to the Dark Hearts, and that's who was texting Cliff.
Yeah, and he got a different one.
And he got a different one, and then that one ended up going into forensics, but never ended up being like looked
I
at.
don't fully understand it myself, so you might be talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah, but this is part of it. I'm glad you don't understand it. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking for answers, but like that's a question I had.
Yeah.
A nitpick I had.
Yeah.
Okay. Second one, did Freddie know that what Robbie was going to do? Or did Freddie also get screwed over by Robbie?
But Freddie have gotten screwed over.
So if
Got the money
Freddie
from
thought,
Freddie, right?
because Freddie called, so Robbie went to Freddie and said, I have the drugs, or whatever. Freddie called Jason and told him who it was, that it was Robbie or so. And then then Jason went to go find Robbie to kill him and stuff like that. So did Freddie know that Robbie's plan was to screw over Jason, or did Freddie think, I'm gonna tell Jason that was Freddie being authentic, or was he in on it? It's a question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's a good question.
good question. And then lastly, where did Tom hide the bag of money to Maeve as like the cops were pulling up, and like the bag is right there, and he just like shoved it under the truck, and like that bag, because he.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, he let Maeve take the money, and yeah, I don't know what he did.
So follow-up question, by him doing that, did he put Maeve in danger? Again, if the Dark Hearts know the money's still out there with Maeve, because they have informants in the police, so they're gonna know the money didn't get to the police. So like they're gonna know, are they gonna go after Maeve?
It's a great freaking question. Here I am thinking, like, when you have all that money, how are you going to pay for everything in cash in today's world? Like setting herself up to be caught for like freaking tax evasion or something like that in the future.
Yeah.
When that's where my logistic mind.
Yeah, but it's a good questions to have. You know what I mean? So what is she gonna do? This pile? Open a bank account? You know what I mean? And like put everything.
You can't make large cash deposits into a bank account, so she's going to have to be systematic on how she handles this money.
Yeah, exactly. And she's smart. Maeve is very smart and stuff like that. But I was kind of like, huh. I'm like, I wonder if the Dark Hearts know the money's still out there.
Yeah.
And because they have people in the FBI and in the police station. And
how much money was that?
It's a great question. It better have been a shit ton after all the trouble they were going through.
I mean, a freaking $1 million bucks, like $10 million bucks. I have no freaking clue, but this money caused the big thing throughout the whole show. So I'm sure it was a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's how I took the category. So maybe we'll refine this
we will fine tune that. Then I don't know that the Dharma Initiative Award is a good name for that, but I loved it. It's maybe a side category or a category we split in two. So next thing, I am the one who knocks award power move of the season. And I think this is a weird award. So I don't know if it sticks with us, but we're going to roll with it for now.
I have 3.
Let's hear what you got.
I have a winner. I feel like it's kind of obvious, but I have some smaller honorable mentions. Just power moves. One is debatable now that I'm thinking about it. Donna ratting on Perry was a power move because they ended up getting him killed. She liked Perry, but Perry opened the door and knocked her in the face. Didn't talk to her, wasn't very respectful when he was asking for coffee. They kind of had like a weird relationship, but she's the one that ended up ratting on.
A little bit of power move.
I would say that's a power move. You know what I mean? That one. Another power move, which again didn't really work out really well. Cliff spitting in Jason's face as he's
Dude, that's
dying.
a great freaking power move. If we're just doing power moves, I feel like I have to rethink this whole category. That's a great power move. Did not end well for him, but he was.
Oh, yes, so is it a power move? He ended up getting saran wrapped, but Jason never got any information from him. From Cliff. And Cliff never gave up. And his
never gave up, Robbie.
He did alive was spit in Jason's face. So, and then I have a winner. But do you have any honorable mentions or?
Came to mind for me, Robbie taking Sam. Power move, just taking the kid, not killing him, just taking the kid, incorporating him into his family, just like, freaking owning it. So I was going to give him some credit there. And then for me, like, even though it didn't end well for him either, but like, I thought like Robbie going for the full out choke on Jason, screaming his head out. I thought that was like power move until he got stabbed in the side. I thought he had him, but it looked like he was in control.
So awesome choices there. Mine is similar to that one with Robbie. I think the ultimate power move of the season was Robbie putting fake things in the duffel bag and having
that is a great power move.
Jason and Perry search for days and look at nighttime in the quarry or whatever in the area, and then them finding the bag and it being nothing. But again, Robbie, kind of what Robbie does, didn't quite overthink it because he thought he was helping Maeve, but since he did not kill Jason, he ended up putting Maeve in grave danger and his kids in grave danger by not killing Jason.
So every power move that we've said is like a kind of an idiot thing at the same time, like a mistake at the same time. So that is interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's a good point because if he's like, hey, if I lose this fight, if I don't kill Jason, Maeve is in major trouble, and that never happened.
But I think it speaks to like the expertise of these people as police officers and criminals, and just like these are just like people. They're not freaking masterminds. They're not. It's not James Bond. It's not guys that are making the perfect decision, perfect moves at the perfect time. Like they're kind of flawed in their thinking, and But in terms of a power move, intention was good there. Just didn't really think it through to the natural next step.
One more power move. Sirius Radio Company that just can track people. If you have a Sirius membership and you're a criminal, don't listen to Sirius Radio because they'll be able to track.
What a funny little thing. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Sirius got any cancellations because of that? They're gonna
or subscriptions. I wonder what the net negative or positive is. Next award. I love this name, but we have to go back award for best cliffhanger or ending, which when applied to this show, I don't know that it there wasn't. I tried to go through. I didn't watch like the last 30 seconds of every episode. I'm interested to see what you think. But like I had a harder time with this category, I'll say. So why don't I just bat first though?
I have two of them, so it's on a 7.
One of the first things that come to mind, but it's not a cliffhanger, was the idea that Sammy was in the house after that on episode 1, right? But it wasn't a cliffhanger in the sense that wasn't the last shot because they took him to the house.
But that was the last shot, and that was my pick for honorable mention. That was a great. I thought that was a cliffhanger because the shot is Sam is sleeping in Robbie's arms, and Robbie is walking into his home with Sam.
So for me, our true cliffhanger is they look downstairs and there's a kid, cut to black, and you're just like, holy shit, what are they going to do with this kid? That's like. But they kind of took it to the next step of okay, they took the kid's still alive, they're going to this house, end of the episode. So I guess in a sense we're talking about the same thing, but
if that's the case, there's only one winner then. I think there's only one episode that has an actual cliffhanger.
Well, tell me what you're thinking, because I don't think my pick is the traditional pick for best cliffhanger or ending. What do you have?
So me, it has to be at the end of episode 5 when Robbie is at the quarry with the bag and everyone is converging into one area, and literally Mark Ruffalo or Tom yells, "Robbie, look!" And Robbie looks at Tom with this unbelievable look in his eyes, and he picks up his gun, and that's fade to black. And that was like a cliffhanger.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And I struggled with this this category because I guess I just didn't remember all of the cliffhangers. That's good. I didn't even think of that as being the last shot. So I very much struggled with it. But I also think that speaks to the lack of a true cliffhanger. Although I guess that is that, but at least it wasn't memorable enough for me to name it that. So for me, I just picked the ending of the finale in general with that open ending with Tom. And you just read down the bedroom and you look out the window and it's just kind of an ending that just leaves you kind of wondering where things kind of go from here, but a little bit on the optimistic side of things. Anyways, that's kind of how
it's tough when it's one season, 7 episodes with Lost. We have to go back. That was the finale of season 4 or season 3 of Lost, which was huge. And then other one that comes to mind is Hank on the toilet, the mid season of the final season with him when he puts together WW.
Whitman.
Yeah. And stuff, and that was a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Yeah,
so the thing about that cliffhanger in Breaking Bad is I was binging at that point.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't have to wait, and I don't know. Did you have to? Were you binging at that point?
We were watching it. No, real time. We were watching it in real.
So that must have been
I had to wait.
I gotta wait for this because we just kind of rolled into the beginning of the last season from there. But yeah, dude, that was a great ending to a season.
Yeah, awesome. But again, those are ends of seasons. You know what I mean? Where you have
But we have to go back.
Well, you saw that in real time.
Yeah.
I did not.
You were not caught up at that point?
We came back. Lost for a second. I'll have to edit that part out.
You're back. So I was going to say, you were not watching it live at that point of Lost? Yeah.
I think I picked up like through season 4, so it took me a while.
That was just such a great cliffhanger. Anyways, one of the best. So, all right. This is going to be an interesting category because we're going to have to fine tune this, I think. So we kind of apply the same thing to the movies, but it's like classic, cult favorite, or trash. What are your thoughts?
For me, out of those 3, I think this is going to be a cult favorite. I think it's like, I don't know if it's like classic, and again, you always go to like HBO shows like Succession, Game of Thrones, Sopranos, that sort of stuff. Cult classic might be Mayor of Easttown, like Leftovers, Watchmen, Station 11, or whatever. And I think this is more that category, So that's what I say.
I would say the same thing. I don't think you can put it on the same level as Succession or Sopranos or just whatever you have in your head for like the best TV shows. I will say I very much enjoyed it. It is interesting for me to listen to the Prestige TV podcast and how much Bill wants this to be a class. Like I almost felt like, and it was emblematic of maybe what people think. Like I think people want this to be like on that level because that doesn't exist right now. Like Game of Thrones. I mean, I know you guys are watching it. It was appointment TV for you. It wasn't necessarily appointment TV for me. Mm-hmm. But like I think people want that Sunday night show on HBO, that classic, and this is them kind of, putting that on this show when I don't know that it's quite to that level, although it was a very good show that I enjoyed.
I agree. And, I thought like Mayor of Easttown, this is going to be a one and done, I think I'm not
going to talk about a sequel. I don't know about that.
You talk about that. I don't know how they would do that.
Not a sequel, but a season 2.
Season 2, or if it would be a different task force, that would be kind of cool. Kind of like a True Detective.
You have to have like a uniting something, even if it was super loose, kind of like, White Lotus type stuff where there's just like one.
So the one idea that I did hear, and they said on the pod, which I think would be incredible, would be a Mayor of Easttown task crossover.
Well, that guy, the writer, said that they do exist in the same universe.
Then get Kate Winslet and Ruffalo together, like that would be awesome, and have this guy write it. You know what I mean? I would be interested in that.
It would maybe make me watch that Mayor of Easttown, and I actually haven't been spoiled on that show, and I honestly don't even know what it's about. Yeah, maybe I'll check it out at some point.
It's like this. I'd say it's literally on par with this. Kate Winslet's insane in it. Great. Again, these Philly accents, these Pennsylvania accents are unbelievable. Daughter and water. That's my Philly.
Love. That was great. Great Philly. Nice job on that. But yeah, great show. Glad we got a chance to watch together. Glad we were recording this 2 days out from the finale and getting it out there and see if some people check it out. I don't know that I've talked to a lot of people that are watching Task, but I feel like it being on HBO, more people are probably watching it than I realize that I know.
I knew a lot of people, not by a lot, I mean like a handful of people that I talked to, and they were watching this. You know what I mean? I'm happy because this wasn't something we planned. I mean, you would have asked us 4 weeks ago. We wouldn't have been planning to do a Task podcast, but I'm glad we got to do it.
It's been fun. We've been recording a bunch of fun pods over the past couple months with new movies coming out, and now got our TV awards and the templates ready for future TV shows. We just got to get on the same page about. And there's stuff, plenty of stuff to record about over the next months. So look forward to doing all that. You watching anything else good?
Right now, this is something you will not be watching, but we are binge watching The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is the best hate watch. I have so many thoughts on this. It would be hilarious to do a podcast. We never will, unless you just let me
go. Aubrey?
Yeah, throw Aubrey on. I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts.
Should I be mortified that Aubrey's watching this show? Or is it not like that bad from that point of view?
Not terrible. Not like Hunting Wives. You know what I mean? Like we talked about like that. You know what I mean? Like that. This show it's like PG-13. You know what I mean? Mostly.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fine. She's 13 years old.
I'm anxious to talk. I'll talk about it maybe this weekend.
Love that.
Other than that, the new Kristen Bell, Adam Brody show is starting up again this week. You know what we do have coming up, though, which we 1,000% will be plotting about?
Gen V?
Gen V, we will be. Did you watch finale yet?
Did it come out yet?
I think it just dropped today.
Last night?
I think today.
Shit, I'll watch it freaking today or tomorrow.
I'm behind, so I do.
Yeah, we won't be able to record one on that. That'd be for boys. We should do a podcast in the future. But yeah, I'll watch it next day or so.
But what's coming up next month?
What is coming up next month?
Stranger Things.
Yes. Yes,
Stranger
that'll be one of
Things
our next
back.
ones. But we're gonna end up having to do a pod on the first half and then a pod on the next 3, and they broke it up into
Which I'm
3
happy
different
to do.
sequences.
I'm
Yeah,
happy to do a pod after Thanksgiving and
I'm
then a pod
pumped
after
about
New
Stranger
Year's.
Things.
So so that's the next big one. I think Gen V. I gotta finish, and then I'll be done that in the next few weeks.
I finished The Diplomat season 3 today.
Yeah. Oh, so wow, jeez, the surgery. I mean, I gotta have surgery. I need to just get have
There's
surgery.
nothing better than surgery for watching TV shows, because I did catch up on all Gen V, and then I watched 3 seasons of The Diplomat, and I had no freaking clue that the 3rd season just came out in the past week or 10 days. I don't even know if you realized that or not. So it was kind of perfect timing. It must have been on the homepage of Netflix, and that's why I started watching it. Loved it.
Right. So you loved it.
I liked it better than Task. So
Really?
yeah, I freaking thought it was awesome.
10
little soap
episodes?
opera.
Each
It's
season?
8, 6, and 8.
Oh, not bad.
And I think I freaking love political shows. And I'm bummed. It made me bummed that I never saw West Wing, because I've read a lot of stuff since
Yeah.
I finished that. It's the most realistic political show since The West Wing. And it definitely feels that way with the set pieces that they have. And just, I'll always love Secret Service stuff, president arriving on a helicopter stuff, all of that. And awesome show. Highly recommend it.
Awesome.
Glad I watched it.
Great. That's awesome. I'm glad you did too.
So that's it, though. That's it, buddy.
All right. Well, we get some things going on in the next month. We'll talk about that. But glad we got to do Task.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, buddy.
See you.